Una good evening, my fellow Ambazonians. Una good evening for all the Ambazonian people and for all over the world. I don't come today. We're on Tuesday for number 3 day for the month of August for 2021. For can salute all una. I be una brother Asu. We're the press secretary for the executive office for Governing Council of Ambazonia. My fellow people them. I hope say una day fine. I hope say una weekend pass fine. For all the Ambazonian people them. For Canada. For this side for Canada, it be been a long weekend. That means say Monday we just passed when I yesterday. It be been a public holiday where they call it for Canada, saying a civic holiday for all the Canadian people them. So I hope say all the Ambazonian them for Canada. I hope say when I be used that day for spend with una friend them, for spend with una family, for una for rest small, for una for relax small, for una for take good care of yourselves small. So I salute all una. I hope say una get a good long weekend. My fellow people, today, the leader for our War of Independence, Dr. Ayaba, he don't get a very important interview with a South African FM radio for South Africa today. So my people, we will take una enter for that interview with the leader get with the South African radio, and the most important thing with the leader talk for that interview. For that interview, they want talking about the human rights report, where the human rights don't put them about the Ambazonia-Cameroon war, and also about the Amnesty International report, where they don't put them about what did happen on the ground. So this talk I want bring up for una, now for bring una that interview, bring una the full interview, make all man listen for what the leader talk and make all man pay attention for what did happen for a war of independence. Then at the end, I go can give una a conclusive comment or statement and give una other updates on what did happen. But before we go there, yesterday, the leader for a war of independence, he be addressed the Ambazonian people then. For that address, last week, he be make a statement for the audio message will be released and he be talk with. They say the Governing Council of Ambazonia from all the information that will be provided to the communication for my office and also for the leader office. They besides say the people them will they be there for the Southern Cameroon's International Town Hall, will they make a comment, will they make a threat, that they issue a threat for my safety and the safety of Capo Daniel and Comrade Benedictwa, where they talk say they say then they go write letters for the various countries that they stay there, for tell the government them, make they see we as people the way they call for the killing of Ambazonians on the territory. It be from that report, from that statement then, that person will be to make those things, will be talk those things for the Southern Cameroon International Town Hall. It be show say they say, it become the information becomes say that person a member of the CDN. After our investigation, and they were contact with the big people them for CDN, when we call them for ask for these things, and they tell we say no, it been a mistake. That person not been a member of the CDN. So when the leader be put out that information for call the CDN people them for order and for call the people of Southern Cameroon International Town Hall for order, the leader yesterday during his address, he withdraw that statement when we don't get information from the CDN and clarity from the CDN. So the people them for the Southern Cameroon Town Hall, where they make all those statements, they not be members of the CDN and not be people that way they get any relationship with the CDN. So the leader be also withdraw a statement. Me too, as the leader press secretary, I want also withdraw my statement what be make for call those people say they be members of the CDN. All right, that is the first thing that I want to talk. Now make we take una who enter for the talk with the leader himself for the full interview with the leader for South African radio. Una hear una self. Make we put this one for up. Make we bring una that full interview and wait till the leader talk about Paul Biya.
This is following the Human Rights Watch report, which was released recently, which accuses the Cameroon soldiers of committing horrific crimes against civilians, and this includes rape as well. Dr. Ayaba, good afternoon. Welcome to Beyond the Headline.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you so much for making time for us as well. Before we get into what the Human Rights Watch has found, as well as Amnesty International, just quickly explain to us the reason behind the push to have a separate state from the main state in Cameroon.
Ambazonia has always been a separate state. It has never been a state legally recognized under Cameroon. So Cameroon has been an independent state as the 1st of January 1960 without Ambazonia. Then Ambazonia was still a self-governing entity under the United Kingdom trusteeship mandate. And so on the 1st of October 1961, Cameroon annexed Ambazonia. And so we are fighting to decolonize and to end that annexation, which has been brutal in all its form and shape.
To what end and what purpose?
To be free like all other nations and to establish over that nation a political system that is consistent with our socio-economic and political reality.
So with the current setup, what would you say it disadvantages people who are from Ambazonia?
Annexation is a crime. Aggression is a crime. It's not about disadvantage within the context of Cameroon. It's that another country violated its international border, annexed another, and used violence to maintain that annexation. It has to come to an end.
And you said this happened. Sorry, I just missed the year there.
Cameroon gained independence on the 1st of January 1960 as a separate state without Ambazonia.
Yeah.
And on the 1st of October 1961, it annexed Ambazonia.
So then, in light with what you just mentioned now, how then should we understand the resolution of the OAU that the borders at that time should be respected?
Of course, the OAU Constitutive Act is clear. The border at independence must be respected. Cameroon's border with Ambazonia was set in 1919 through the Milner-Simon Treaty, and it gained independence within the confines of that particular border. So it should respect its border at independence. It didn't include Ambazonia.
Okay. Now, looking into this report by the Human Rights Watch, what is it that you think that should be happening here to make sure that these atrocities also come to an end? Because what the report also indicates is that people have been stopped along the roads, for instance, while on their way home. There's an excerpt about a family that were on their way home. They were stopped and they were accused of being separatists.
What is going on in our country is horrific and is beyond explanation. International crimes are being committed, crimes against humanity, crimes of genocide, war crimes, and crime of aggression. And under normal circumstances, Cameroon should have been referred to the ICC. We thought the African Union would have taken a more, stronger stance with respect to what is happening within the continent. That impunity of any kind is a violation of the Charter, but nothing has been done. What is supposed to be done is that those responsible for the crimes within Ambazonia should be arraigned before a tribunal and tried for the impunity against our people.
And where should this trial be taking place?
There have been different models of trials that have taken place. The International Criminal Court is one. Within the context of Africa, a special tribunal could be set up, and the ICC prosecutor could work with the African Union to investigate and ascertain the crimes that we have enlisted: crimes of genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and crimes of aggression. And then they can move from there. There are several international jurisdictions that can be used to prosecute these crimes.
What then about the finding from Amnesty International that all parties to the conflict in Cameroon's Anglophone regions have committed human rights violations and abuses, and civilians caught in the middle?
I cannot deny that on our side there have been some mishaps, but they don't amount to the threshold of international crimes, like
Why do you
crimes
call them
against
mishaps?
humanity. Because there are different thresholds to crimes that can be prosecuted at the international level. Within the Ambazonian resistance, there have been some actions that are inconsistent with the respect of human rights. They have not been a violation of international humanitarian law. And so we have investigated some of them. We've arrested soldiers. We are taking action against those who are, for example, illegally arresting people, extortion and kidnapping, or any form of harassment and torture. But those are not policies which have been exacted by our forces. What we are talking here, and which the Oxford University rejected in terms of moral equivalence, is the fact that the crimes being committed by Cameroon are policy positions, are crimes that are systematic in nature and should be prosecuted at the international level.
Don't you think that what it also does is that people would then lose sympathy for the cause of the separatists because of the stance that's being taken by some of these people that you say they're acting based on something that's not policy?
How can you lose sympathy for a people? It's like, the brutality on South Africa by the white regime and little exactions by the Umkhonto Wesizwe will cause Africans. Look, I went to school in primary school and I made handwork to be able to support, the Umkhonto Wesizwe, to support the resistance in South Africa. Who really cared about some of the little exactions committed by the Umkhonto Wesizwe against a mighty power supported by the international system that was massacring people as a matter of policy, segregation as a matter of policy? It's not a matter of sympathy. It's a matter of violation of international rules, commission of crimes against humanity. People must understand that war is dirty. We are taking all steps necessary under the conditions of utmost brutality to make sure that we conduct ourselves with respect to human rights norms and the respect for international humanitarian law.
With President Paul Biya, do you think there's any opportunity at all to sit with him around the table?
Paul Biya is an international criminal. He should be arraigned in front of the ICC. We have asked the international community to work together and put in place a multilateral system and get Cameroon to commit, to discussions and on the timetable of his withdrawal from our country. Paul Biya, I don't think he has any role to play. He's killed so many people that his rightful place on planet Earth is in jail.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Dr. CHO AYABA, the current leader of the Ambazonia Governing Council. When we come back, we'll...
All right, my fellow Ambazonians and friends of Ambazonians. That one, the interview that with the leader for our war of independence, Dr. CHO AYABA, he get with the South African FM radio, the person we interview ye na Aldrin Sampear for the South African FM. Now the interview that they for find out from the leader about the human rights report and the report for the Amnesty International, where they don't put on talk say all side. I mean say for the Ambazonian side and for the La République du Cameroon side, they don't violate human rights, they don't commit human rights abuses, and they don't do things in way according to the international system, not fine. Now with the leader, he don't make this clarity for both the Ambazonian people and for the international community. Make they understand, they say, Cameroon is presence for Ambazonia. Now a policy of annexation. Cameroon is presence for Ambazonia. Now an act of colonialism. Cameroon is presence for Ambazonia. Now an act of occupation. The leader make it be very clear. The Ambazonian people, they decide for pick up arms as an act of self-defense against Cameroon aggression, against Cameroon terrorism, against Cameroon occupation, against Cameroon colonialism. That the only reason that with the Ambazonian people, they decide for rise up, for pick up arms, for defend themselves. The policy for the Ambazonia Defense Forces, where it get a code of conduct and are the most structured group with a total command and control, they get a code of conduct will be consistent with the Geneva Convention. It not be all the things that already happen with the human rights report it put out for outside. It not reflect a policy, whether not the governing council policy or the policy of Ambazonia Defense Forces. So why the leader acknowledge say the forces on the ground, they don't commit they don't do small things them where they not fine. But those small things where they do and where they not fine, those things have not been a policy. As compared to the burnings of Ambazonians' homes, na Cameroon military policy, na a policy of Cameroon government for kill Ambazonian picking them, na policy of Cameroon government, na a policy of the Cameroon military for burn people them alive, na a policy of the Cameroon government, na a policy of the Cameroon military for destroy people their businesses, na a policy of the Cameroon government, na a policy of the Cameroon military for extrajudicial killing, na a policy of the Cameroon government, na a policy of the Cameroon military for illegal arrest, detention, disappearances, na a policy of the Cameroon government, na a policy of the Cameroon military. All right? Rape as an instrument of war, na a policy of the Cameroon government, na a policy of the Cameroon military. For take people them, disappear them incommunicado, na a policy of the Cameroon government, na a policy of the Cameroon military. So all those things then, whether they happen for ground, now policies with la Republic du Cameroon, it don't put them as a policy of genocide. Now they think this way the leader be talk am. So AD also talks say they say, they ask you say, okay, what do you think about how the current setup between Cameroon and Ambazonia, where they try for make me be one state, how the current setup, fine for the Ambazonian people then. It make the whole world and make the people for South Africa, they know say, the current setup, there is no current setup where it put Cameroon and Ambazonia as one country. It never ever be, it never ever exist. It never ever be, and it never ever exist. Cameroon and Ambazonia, they not be one country. The leader, they still insist and for explain and for people them. When La République du Cameroon gained its independence for 1st of January 1960, Ambazonia not be part of Cameroon. It not be part of that independence. Cameroon be get its own separate borders. It get its own separate state. Ambazonia not be get anything for do with Cameroon independence. And the Ambazonian border and the territory it still be as it be since before Cameroon gained its independence and after Cameroon don't gain its independence. The Ambazonian borders, they never change. Cameroon its own border as a territory, they never change. The leader still insists. Cameroon its presence for Ambazonia now an act of international aggression, now an act of terrorism, now an act of occupation, now an act of colonialism. There are crimes them for Ambazonia. They commit all those crimes for Ambazonia. They commit them now in the name of colonialism. For force the Ambazonian people make Ambazonia become part of Cameroon. Now the warning this way the leader, they put them out for outside. They don't only talk these things since 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. So for 2021, it is still talking. They ask you about would it be possible for the Ambazonian people for sit down for table with Paul Biya for negotiation. The leader, he make them very clear. Paul Biya is an international criminal. The place where Paul Biya deserve for be, na for international prison. Not before can she done for a negotiating table. Now so the leader, he take him, he talk him. We not only one. If he take the Ambazonian people for talk that kind thing. That one, it be been at the interview with the leader, he be get him today for the South African radio. Over the weekend, the biggest international report, it don't come off outside. Over the weekend, the biggest report from the world biggest financial institution, where they call them say the World Bank. The World Bank don't release a big report. Part of that report, it focus on the Ambazonian liberation. Part of that report, it focus on the Ambazonian political leadership, the various movements and leaders where the day for speak on an Ambazonia, advocate for Ambazonia, and for talk say that they fight for Ambazonia. The World Bank don't release a report. That report, it be very consistent with the education where we don't can tell the Ambazonian people them for 2019. For 2019, we make an elaborate report for talk say they say when the pick CHO AYABA Julius, La République du Cameroun, it pick AYABA Julius and the team for the Naira Hotel for Nigeria, they pick it up because Samuel Sako and Chris Anu, they sell CHO AYABA Julius to La République du Cameroun, make it pick them up. Once they take AYABA, Paul Biya, he put Sako and Chris Anu for hijack that institution, that organization, what they call and say at the IG. They put them inside as we already tell what people them for 2019. They put them. Paul Biya put Sako and Chris Anu for the IG, for hijack the IG so that they fit kill the Ambazonian quest of independence and push Ambazonia them for premature negotiations. Sako, they pick up CHO AYABA for the first week of January for 2018. Sako come in for April, 3 months after. Now for they bring Sako in. They bring Sako in as we tell the Ambazonian people them. He not present the Ambazonian people them a plan. He not present a roadmap. He only can launch now a financial fundraising where they call and say my trip for Boya. Within a couple of months, when they start for raise that money, all the money disappear. A whole $2 million. $2 million. It buy 1 million AK. Make a repeat them for the Ambazonian people them. $2 million. If for put 1 million AK in the hands of Ambazonian fighters. You imagine as an Ambazonian, if they be put 1 million AK-47, 1 million guns in the hands of Ambazonian forces for 2018, the land will already be liberated within a short period of time. Sako and Chris Anu, they take all this money, they wipe them out. It no end for day. Just a few months after that, Sako coming for April. By 2019, the early part of 2019, Sako already go sign in for negotiation with Cameroon. Under 1 year, where Sako and Chris Anu, they hijack the IG. They already go commit themselves for a negotiation with La République du Cameroun. We present this information to the Ambazonian people then. Say they want carry the revolution, German for war, and end the Ambazonian quest for freedom so that Cameroon will continue for take over Ambazonia and lay a claim for Ambazonia where they will talk say they don't can get a negotiation. We tell una say the person where Naidi handled Samuel Sako, na the former Prime Minister of La République du Cameroun, in name na Peter Mafani Musonge. Now the person that when I be the Sako a handler. We explain all these things to the Ambazonian people then. Now, the World Bank, it don't come out, it can't put out the biggest report from the international system. For not only tell the Ambazonian people, but for tell the international community. For all the people then, when we tell what people say, they say, history, they can't repeat itself for Ambazonia. People they call we say will be crazy. They call some of we all kind of names. They cosh we. They create groups for launch attack against empirical evidence will be provided to the Ambazonian people there. Now with the World Bank, it don't can put out a report, an open report to the Ambazonian people, to the public. And that report, they put on for the international system for understand how things are there for Cameroon, so that the international system would know how Cameroon day and how the world go. For that report, the World Bank, it clearly states, says since the pick up Ayok Tabe, Samuel Sakoyi and Chris Anu, where they can hijack that institution. The World Bank talk say they be incompetent, number one. That's what the World Bank talk. It says Sakoyi and Chris Anu, they be incompetent. Number two, they be corrupt. Number three, let me say for inside that organization, corruption and embezzlement, it did like the one for Cameroon. Now so the World Bank talk am, not be na me talk am. The report be out for all man. The most interesting thing where they talk am for that report, now the one way it concern the Ambazonian people them bigly. They talk say they say, for back, Samuel Sako, Yi and Chris Anu, as we don't tell what people them, for back, they don't go commit, say that the one that they fight now for federation. That's what the World Bank talking. Sako, Yi and Chris Anu, they don't go commit since 2019. Say then they fight now for federation. They don't go commit for Paul Biya. They go tell Paul Biya say, then they want a federation. Sako and Chris Anu, just within a year, where they hijack the IG, sell Ayok to La République took them inside. They take La République their plan, give them back for La République to Cameroon, say, okay, we will want a federation. They start for speak on behalf of La République du Cameroon. Start for act on behalf of La République du Cameroon. They constitute people them. They constitute Sako, bring in Elvis Kumeta for impeach Ayok and make a mail like saying Sako, he get the IG. He bring in Elvis Kumeta. Elvis Kumeta, he be being one of the people them where they use them for do this deal. Number two, Bo Herbert. Number three, Dr. Akwanga. Now the key people them this, where they bring them inside for push that agenda. Number four,
power off.
Now number four, now Abdul Karim. Now number four person that where they be bringing inside this deal for push Cameroon agenda. For front, they can't lie the Ambazonian people them. But for back, they be already go commit for Cameroon. For make guarantee for Cameroon. Say they say, then they must push things them. Make it end not only for federation. That's why Sako come in and not make a couple of months, he go commit for the Swiss process. From all indications, the process it be done for kill the fight for independence and for rush for go make the premature agreements, just like the Fonchas and the Muna. They carry the Ambazonian people them. They go sell them for La République du Cameroon. And the Ambazonian people them, since 1961 till today, they don't pay the price of the traitors. They don't pay the price. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of Ambazonians, they don't die because of what the Foncha and Muna they do for the Ambazonian people them for 1961. Today, not been the Sako and Anu, they don't can embezzle the 2 million who is supposed to provide 1 million AK-47 to the forces on the ground. But the one carry Ambazonian, go sell them back for La République du Cameroon for the Federation 2.0, for a repeat of history for the Ambazonian people them. Now we report that we come off for World Bank. Any person will be get any doubt as to why when Sako come in, why the first thing we do now for ban the ADF. Now you understand why. Now for ban the Governing Council of Ambazonia. Now we don't understand why. We don't understand why they killed 39 ADF fighters for Bui. We now understand why. We don't understand why when since day one, their goal now always constant attack on the leader of Ambazonian Revolution, Dr. Ayaba, when the president for Governing Council of Ambazonia, their consistent attack on Ambazonia Defense Forces and their consistent instigation of infighting. Now we don't understand why. You don't need for be a rocket scientist. You don't need for be a doctor. You don't need for go for big book. For you for understand why did they do what they be doing. For you for understand why did they push the Ambazonian people and pay fighters up to $1 million amber for one fighter for go attack the ADF, for cause infighting and for kill all the top generals and commanders on the ground. Now we don't understand why. This one a report from World Bank. According to the World Bank, it talks say the Governing Council of Ambazonia a hardline position for independence. It don't rally and inspire Ambazonians them for diaspora. Even the one the way they be support the IG group. They don't join the AGOFC for stand for total independence. That's what the World Bank talking. And as a result, the IG group, it don't lost irrelevance. It don't lost a voice within Ambazonian liberation. That's what the World Bank talking. So even within the international system, now that the international system they can reveal and for the Ambazonian people, say Sakoyi and Chris Ano, they be already go take money for sell Ambazonian back for La République du Cameroon as a push for federation. Now the World Bank they talk now for all now. The World Bank go further for talk say, for all the defense group that they do for ground. Now the Ambazonia Defense Forces, it be number 1 group for ground. That's what the World Bank put on. The World Bank lists 4 defense groups for ground. And it put the Ambazonia Defense Forces as the biggest group on the ground. And the World Bank talks say, Dr. Ayaba chose a strategy. Now the strategy, we don't change everything for the liberation of Ambazonia. It talks say, the World Bank talks say, the Dr. Ayaba is strategy for make Ambazonian territory ungovernable. It don't change the political calculation for Yaoundé. That's what the World Bank talking. That's what the World Bank talking. So fellows Ambazonians, it be now up to all una. The Ambazonian people where they want freedom. The Ambazonian people where they want independence. The Ambazonian people where they want a homeland of their own. For all the fighting forces on the ground. Even the one that will not be no say, will not be the fight now for federation. As we be the tell now. That's why they be the call now restoration forces. That's why they call una restoration forces. Now we don't understand why they call una restoration forces. For restore the past. Because if you only restore us until it be. We don't understand now why Mark Barretta it be continuously for push this name restoration forces. We don't understand now why. Even when for 2017, for 2018 and 2019, we'll get this argument Mark Barretta will tell you it don't make sense. We don't understand now why they continue for push for this name, Restoration Forces. We don't understand now why. Why up till today they still call them Restoration Forces? Because if you only restore, na something will be already exist. Which will be exist for Ambazonia. And Ambazonia be exist as a British trusteeship, trust territory will be there under the British. That one be exist. Now that one you want restore them. Ambazonia be exist as an integral part for eastern region of Nigeria, where they put them for self-government, for joint administration with the eastern region. Now that one you want exist, you want restore them, or you want restore West Cameroon, where we come together as two states, we do not ever sign a treaty of union. As my interview with Professor Patrice Ngana, it don't reveal them. Say the Ambazonian people and the people of the Republic of Cameroon, they never ever signed any official union of treaty. So even what they call and say West Cameroon, it not be exist because union treaty not be there for put West Cameroon and East Cameroon together as a state. They not be there. So now wait, they want restore them. When we hear this name Restoration Forces, now the same thing we tell now a manipulative term for a return to federation. So all those forces, whether they call themselves Restoration Forces, when they fight now for federation, when they fight now make the gain, make they go negotiate, make they use when fighting for negotiate for federation. That's why they call Restoration Forces. Now the meaning that the World Bank report, it don't put on me be very clear now for all man. Me be very clear for all man. Any person, no wonder Dr. Abacho a presentation last week. It lists 3 achievements of governing council. Excuse me. The leader a presentation last week, it be list 3 achievements. 3 strategic achievements of governing council of Ambazonia. Number 1, it makes self-defense to become the most powerful instrument for our liberation. Will be embraced even by those one the way they fight, where they talk say they fight for federation. Number 2, it stop premature negotiations for carry Ambazonia them go jam the liberation for war. Number 3, it take the conflict between Ambazonia and Cameroon for make them an international issue and not an issue when a Cameroon it get hand for it. Now the 3 strategic achievements in that for the governing council of Ambazonia over the last 5 years. For make the ground ungovernable, for make self-defense as the foundation of our liberation. Number 2, for make sure say the spoilers, the new funchers, the new munas, in the name of Samuel Sako and Chris Anu, in the name of the IG, they not carry Ambazonia, go sell them for federation. It stop them. The governing council, it stop all their dirty and backdoor deals for sell Ambazonia through the Swiss. Number 3, the governing council help Ambazonia for move the matter from Cameroon in hand, where Cameroon will go offer federation and put them back for the international system. So the leader, a policy, it don't save the Ambazonian people. And today, the World Bank report, now, how did it talk? Now a validation of which we don't push them, of the truth, we don't stand for speak for the Ambazonian people them from the beginning. And the education we don't speak, the truthful education, the honest education, we don't advocate them for the Ambazonian people, for defend their aspirations with integrity. The World Bank report, it don't come validate and endorsed all which will be done the talker and put a stamp of approval for give Dr. Ayaba a strategy, a policy, and the organization. Say they don't stand for the truth, they don't speak the truth, and they don't always, no matter all the attacks. Today, the biggest financial institution where they control the whole world, they don't come or can't put that information off outside. As from today, any person who don't read that World Bank report, if you continue for support Sako and Chris Ano, you did do am now, so may not talk say you don't know. No Ambazonia, where the World Bank report now don't come out. Say Sako and Chris Ano, they be already go commit for federation. Any man where the so call Sako a name for work with Samuel Sako, for support Sako and Chris Ano, you did do am now, so you know if you talk say you be blind. Because the World Bank report, it don't tell you what you be stand for, even if you not be know. Now you know. All the forces on the ground, where they call themselves the restoration forces, the World Bank report, it tell when I say, when I need to fight now for independence. When I the fight now for federation. The World Bank report, it don't make me be very clear now. When I abandon these groups where they don't deceive now. When I abandon these groups where even the World Bank, it don't indict Sako for incompetence, corruption, and embezzlement. No man of it talks say no. Every Ambazonian now, it get the World Bank report for your hand. If you want independence, una must abandon the new Munas and the new Funchas, where they don't go take millions and millions and millions, and through the colonial CPDM elites, for hijack Ambazonian liberation, jam them for war, and take corrupt and thief people them, put them for front, for go sell Ambazonia as the new slaves back to La République du Cameroon. Fortunately, as the World Bank talker, Dr. Ayaba, a policy, a strategy, it don't rally all Ambazonians them, as the World Bank talker. Even the people that they support the IG, they support Dr. Ayaba a policy, and as a result, the IG it not get relevance again. That's so World Bank talking. So all Ambazonians them, I want just can appeal for all una. Una stand up for what to be right. Una stand for a man, for a leader, where from day one, it don't tell una the truth. It tell una what he fight for. And today, the World Bank don't can tell una. Say, Dr. Ayaba stand for total independence, and na his strategy, he defied La République du Cameroon. Sakoyi and Chris Ano, they are IG, or as they call them, the IG. He don't go commit and promise Paul Biya, say then they find out for federation. Any man now, it be clear. Choose your path. Every single Ambazonian on the ground, he rise up now for fight for the independence of Ambazonia. Every mami, he be rise up now for fight for the independence of Ambazonia. Every soldier on the ground, he be rise up for fight for the independence and freedom and liberation of Ambazonia. Nobody be rise up for fight for federation. When corrupt thief people them, when petite criminals, when infiltrators, they don't can use forces, bribe forces, corrupt forces, pollute forces, instigate forces, and push them for the agenda of federation. Now those forces, they must abandon these people where the World Bank don't put this report for all now. All the generals and commanders where when they fight under the structure when they call and say restoration forces. Now we know place where they push when they go. There is no Ambazonia on the ground, no fighter on the ground. It be rise up for fight for federation. Or when be rise up for defend the sovereignty of Ambazonia, for defend the dignity of the Ambazonian people. Them. We know say they use corruption, they use extortion, they use distortion, They use manipulation for jack all una, bribe all una, put una for this system, and for una for give them legitimacy. That legitimacy don't come to an end. It don't come to an end. All the forces on the ground will not align with ourselves with the aspirations of the Ambazonian people. Them. We are now aligned with ourselves with what the people that they fight for and what will not be woke up for fight for. The report card, it don't be out for everybody. There is no more argument. There is no more, there is no more this. There is no more argument. An indisputable report from the World Bank, it don't make everything don't be clear for every person, including Ground Zero, including all Ambazonian activists, including Mark Barretta. Everybody. Things a bit clear. We must now move forward as a people. We got for now align ourselves as a people with the aspirations of the people. With a leader we don't prove as the World Bank report don't put on. Say strategy. Now it guarantee the liberation, the independence, and freedom for Ambazonia. So I call on all Ambazonian papa and mami them. I call on all our brothers and sisters. I call on all Ambazonian bloggers and activists. Make we now with this World Bank report. No person of it talk say, I not be know me. Now you know. Even if you be blind, now you see. Even if you not be fit for a year, now you understand. At the time this will always for align ourselves, for focus on the strategy, for focus on consolidation of the ground, for focus on bringing all the forces together. Now we'll not be understand why they be instigating fighting. So now, at the time this will go for start for heal all those wounds and all those divisions and bring all our forces them. Make a focus on the national liberation strategy. Bring all our forces them and the generals make the start for work together. The report card is there now for every person in hand. For all Ambazonian communities, at the time this for all we now for rally ourselves through which it don't work and which it work. Next week Saturday, we will be at the 7th. This Saturday will come up in the next 5 days. We will be at the 7th of August for 2021. The Governing Council of Ambazonia, it invite all Ambazonians for one of the biggest fundraising for this August. Because the leader be promised the Ambazonian people say, we go get a consistent fundraising every month for the defense of homeland. And the one will be supposed to take place for the end of August, they move on for the first week of it's supposed to take place for the end of July, they move on to the first week of August, and it will take place for Saturday, the 7th of August. Now we call all man with this World Bank report and we will achievement them on the ground. Now two things them, the leader, it don't put them for the forces for pursuing. The general for Ambazonia, the Supreme Commander of Ambazonia Defense Forces, General Efang, we according to World Bank, now they lead the biggest defense force on the ground. Now two things that we do. Number one, we consolidate the ground. That means we focus on the stabilization of Ground Zero. For bring all the forces them, for work together, for keep Ground Zero be stable. So that we feel wipe out all the kidnapping for ransom, all the thief, and protect the Ambazonian people them for the liberated communities. Number two, for consolidate our gains. For all the places where we would already liberate them, we'll get for focus, for convert those places for Ambazonian liberated territories. And for those places, when I know say the Governing Council, it don't launch community education programs for all those liberated territories. And for all over Ambazonia, say all the schools for Ambazonia, they must be converted into Ambazonian community schools. So for the place that would already liberate them, and the place that we're picking the go school safe, for under Ambazonia, new Ambazonia system of education, will get thousands of Ambazonia picking where they go Ambazonia community schools for liberated territories. So for Saturday, our goal now for raise more money for put more big weapons for those liberated territories so that if we expand the liberated territories, if we defend them, so that we go increase the number of Ambazonia picking them where they fit go for our community schools. We'll get thousands of picking where they go community schools. We don't show now some of the videos them where we cover their face. We don't hear from the teachers. Thousands of these picking them. They for liberated territories. They need books. They need school uniforms. They need school picking their shoe them. The schools them they need benches. The schools them they need roof. Some they need painting. So the fundraising on Saturday for August 7th, now for consolidate the ground and now for expand community schools. 1 month from now, it will be in September. Pekin will go back to school. While we reject Cameroon colonial educational system, the Ambazonia Governing Council don't create an empowering alternative for introduce Ambazonia community schools. So we call on all the loving, dedicated, committed, caring Ambazonian papa, mami them, brothers and sisters for join we on Saturday. Make we come together as one people for end Cameroon tyranny on our people, for end Cameroon occupation of our people, for end Cameroon brutality on our people, for start for take back our country. The leader talked yesterday say, Ambazonia don't be free. Now for consolidate our gains, bring all the forces them now together and help those forces make them finish the job where the Ambazonian people rise up for. We no go wait until the land be totally liberated and Cameroon sign a letter of surrender or a surrender agreement. But while we fight, we go also provide the basic education we are picking they need them for liberated territories. Consolidate the ground and provide community education, and then with things like hospital clinic for those liberated territories. So now the work this will need for doing. As we talk, the report card is there for outside now for our man. So every Ambazonian at the time this for you for rally under one leadership where the World Bank don't talk and say, now you get, if you don't stand up for give the Ambazonian people them independence. All right? So, I be just talking about I can't give you now the leader the interview with the South African FM. So one thank the people them for South African FM, one thank Mr. Aldrin Sampear, and one also thank the people them with the South African, the Ambazonia Governing Council South African Mission, the AGOFC mission for South Africa, where they help for coordinate all these things and make it maybe possible for the leader to get this message to the international community. And one thank all our people then. We thank God for this truth. We don't come for the perfect time. The truth, as they talk, shall set you free. The truth, it will always set the people them free. Cameroon don't be a country. We don't live under lies, and as a result, the people don't live under poverty because of lies. The Ambazonian people don't experience a lot of chaos since these infiltrators they come in. A lot of infighting based on manipulation, based on lies. Finally, the biggest truth, it don't be told. The truth will set you free when you embrace that truth. You live on that truth. The truth, it will heal you when you embrace that truth. You live on that truth. You act on that truth. The truth, it will give you progress when you embrace that truth. You act on that truth. And you live with that truth. the Amazonian people, their freedom, it be based on fundamental truth as a people with a distinct culture, a distinct identity, a distinct state, with well-defined international borders, and the policy of self-defense and a natural law. All those things, they be based on the truth. It will be undeniable. World Bank, they don't give you the truth. Act on it, and you'll be free. When I get a good night, may God bless Amazonia.